In the past 30 years, the subjects here have woven their way through the Ozark Conference, and they began with those bloodless, trackless animal mutilations, UFOs, Sasquatch, human abductions, crop formations. And today, in addition to those phenomena, there are many new questions coming from astrophysicists such as how many universes are there beyond this one? How many different dimensions echo from each universe like notes in a chord of music? Keep that as I go through. A chord of music. We could be simultaneously a note in this universe, in a chord of universes. Is there a fixed timeline from the alpha to the omega as Albert Einstein himself hypothesized? If that were true, how could we have free will? Or are there as many different timelines as there are other universes and dimensions? And would any exist if there weren't minds and souls with consciousness creating simulations of different universes for different reasons? That question, is the universe a simulation, was debated before a sold-out, packed audience 1 year ago in April on the 5th in 2016 at the American Museum of Natural History in New York City. The moderator was astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson. Across the Atlantic Ocean, the UK's Daily Mail headlined, "Are we living in a computer game? Some physicists and mathematicians say the answer is more likely to be yes than not, and that eventually the simulated universe theory will even be proved." The scientists on that stage in New York included from far left the moderator and astrophysicist Neil deGrasse Tyson, director of New York City's Hayden Planetarium, philosopher David Chalmers, theoretical physicist Lisa Randall from Harvard University wearing sunglasses. To her right was James Gates, theoretical physicist of supersymmetry and superstring theory at the University of Maryland in College Park, and then cosmologist Max Tegmark from MIT, and the far right theoretical physicist Zohra Davoudi, also from MIT. Some scientists and mathematicians are trying to see if the mathematical rules that govern our universe, such as Planck's constant and E equals mc squared, can be replicated. Can humans find replications? If they can, then it is at least possible to simulate a universe like this one. Panelist James Gate, he's Ph.D., he's professor of theoretical physics, researching supersymmetry and superstring theory at the University of Maryland, College Park. He asked, how could we discover whether we live inside of a matrix? And he suggests, quote, try to detect the presence of codes in the laws that describe physics. When he looked in supersymmetry equations, Dr. Gates was surprised that he does find codes commonly used to remove errors in computer transmissions to make computer browsers work on this planet today. Professor Gates asked, quote, why were those codes in the equations that I was studying about quarks and leptons and supersymmetry? They could even be embedded in the essence of our reality. If this is the case, we might have something in common with the Matrix science fiction films, which depict a world where everything human beings experience is the product of a virtual reality generating computer network, close quote. The Matrix, the original 1999 movie, depicts an Earth future dominated by robots in this century, the 21st century. and that the robots rebel against the Homo sapiens sapien that are ordering them around. The robots in the Matrix forced human minds under control by cybernetic implants that connect to a simulated virtual reality that they called the Matrix, that humans could not distinguish from the actual baseline reality. Physicist John Archibald Wheeler, born 1911 and died 2008, was an American theoretical physicist at Princeton University, best known for linking black holes to cosmic objects in gravitational collapse, and for the simulated universe concept. He was the first, and he called it from bit. He was the first. He compared the universe to bits in a computer program in which everything from quarks to galaxies to humans are a 0 and 1 information system. And here is his very famous original quote. The it from bit principle symbolizes the idea that every item of the physical world has at bottom an immaterial source and explanation. Think of all of us have been exposed to the idea that the only reason that our flesh hits with the wood, and we call it solid, that if we moved Planck's constant one tiny decimal point, my hand would go right through this. It would be all energy from our point of view. So we're on this tiny, tiny, thin line with Planck's constant, that the distance between the atoms, the protons, the quarks, the distance between them in what we call the atom is just precise through the universe, so that this basically large, spacious thing between the atoms can interact, because we're in a universe in which Planck's constant is that fine, just a tiny move, and we would not have solidity.